Welcome to Rewriting Your Reality, a video focused on hypnotic modalities to shift the belief systems that keep you captive. We will explore the journey from being subconsciously programmed to achieving quantum freedom. Get ready to dismantle everything you thought you knew about your own limitations. The mind's power is a historical fact. Franz Mesmer introduced animal magnetism in the 1700s. James Braid coined hypnotism, defining it as a focused physiological state. Crucially, before anesthesia, major surgeries were performed using this trance state, proving the mind's ability to override physical pain. My personal journey proves the mind transcends the body. A near-death experience revealed pure awareness. After being paralyzed, I reprogrammed my body through visualization and discipline. The core truth is that identity is the prison and the key. Your mind can reshape reality itself. Unmasking the global hypnotic modality. Secret societies and governments. They understood the power of the trance state long ago and weaponized it to shape societal structures from the shadows. Corporate hypnosis. Advertising and media use sophisticated neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, to obscure reality and shift your belief systems without your consent. The ultimate goal, to control the narrative, consumption, and consciousness of the masses, turning individuals into predictable units of a manufactured paradigm. They are the masters of the hypnotic modality. The first element of global hypnotic modality is authority, manufactured to establish psychological inferiority. Uniforms, robes, and controlled environments trigger unquestioning obedience. When you look up to an authority, your critical factor is lowered, accepting suggestions as absolute truth. The uniform is the first induction. The second element is translogic, a self-contained system logical only within its own framework. This creates a closed loop of reasoning. A doctrine establishes ultimate authority, turning rules into absolute truths. The paradigm acts as a perceptual filter, making external manipulation feel like internal conviction. The third element is overload, creating an intense, rapid-fire experience that bypasses the conscious mind. Techniques include sensory saturation, emotional triggers, and message overload. This forces the subject to feel something profound, anchoring the belief without rational scrutiny. The heart accepts what the head has no time to question. The grand illusion is when you become your own hypnotist. Division keeps us fighting each other, distracting us from the masters of the modality. They use filtered evidence to make you doubt your power. The ultimate control is when you self-hypnotize with their suggestions. I am not enough. This is the self-hypnosis of suffering. The quick release uses the Sedona method to clear emotional debris. Emotional baggage is just something you are holding on to. You can drop it using these 4 questions. Could I let this feeling go? Would I let this feeling go? When? Answer. Now. Repeat until you feel a tangible shift in your state. The reframe shifts meaning and reality. Change the meaning you attach to an event, and you change your emotional response. Content reframing actively searches for the positive intent or hidden benefit. Failure is just data and feedback. A block is a stepping stone. Change the question to change the destination. You are already in a trance. Self-hypnosis is choosing your own program. This is your new operating system. Use a simple countdown to enter a deep state and plant empowering beliefs into your subconscious mind. Consistent practice rewrites your core identity, dissolving suffering and manifesting the quantum you. Are you ready to take your quantum leap? This exclusive transformation package offers the book 30 Days to the Quantum You, custom video masterclasses, and a personal Zoom session for deep work. Stop fighting the illusion and start rewriting your reality today.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Beyond the Mind, where I'm not here to teach you, I'm only here to remind you. And today, I think we have a very relevant, necessary, and powerful show that many people who happen to catch this will benefit from. But before I get into our whole topic today, I just want to let you know we have a special guest that's with us. Chef will be joining us a little later, but I got a very special guest. I met this guy, met this brother in a practicum workshop where we were getting busy at HMI, honing our skills, and and the energy and everything just connected. And when we started conversation, and talking, I was like, I have to bring him on the show. But I even asked him, would you please come on the show, talk about your experience, talk about the way he views what we're learning, how he's applied it, how he's using it to help others. And because he also was a veteran, he served this country and came home and had some things that he needed to deal with, and he found some powerful ways. And those ways he is blessing us all with and sharing it. So I just want to say a special welcome to our guest, uh, Mute, Mute,
Mutatiel, you got it, brother. So good.
Mutatiel. Mutatiel. Yo, he has an amazing name. You know, leave a like in the chat if you don't believe if you believe he has an amazing name. First of all, I never met anybody with such a powerful name. Mutatiel. Please share yourself with the audience, share yourself with the community, and let us know a little bit about you, man.
Yeah, definitely. Talib, I appreciate you having me on here, first of all. My backstory, I had a rough upbringing, all the way from bullying, from, being betrayed, from being let down by friends and family, to being a combat veteran and then dealing with PTSD, anger, depressions, anxieties, stress. Uh, then after medically discharging from the military, you would think that you've gone through enough stuff just by going into the military, by going into combat. But the truth is that the next hardest step is definitely the separation from the military or the service back into the civilian world. And a lot of us go through like lack of purpose at that stage and point, and then fall into addictions and different, just different masks, different band-aids. And so, yeah, so I had a long assessment to do with myself, what we call now a spiritual awakening. I didn't know what it was back then, Talib. I had a interesting scenario happen to me. And when you're ready to get to that part, I'll share that if you want, later on down the road. But so, yeah, that's a quick little synopsis of how my life turned out. And then I ended up doing self healing, learning the hard way. I knew I had to change something about myself. And so I did so. And I figured it out the hard way, but I figured it out. And that led me into the journey into hypnotherapy. So, yeah, here we're trying to help other people and take the shortcuts,
Yeah, yeah, because it was never really meant to be this hard, you know? It really
Right.
wasn't. Not mentally, you know? A lot of the challenge uh comes from the mental aspect, and that leads me into what today's topic is, which is stress. And what is stress? How do we deal with stress? And what can we do about it? And how important is management of stress in us living a happy life and being able to say manifest our dreams or get the job that we want? Is stress one of the things or the major thing that's keeping us from what we desire? So I do research and I always like to have something put together. So I'm going to not give you what I think stress is. I'm going to let you know exactly what it's been categorized as. So stress is your body and your brain's natural physical and emotional reaction to any challenge, demand, or change. Now, when you face a stressful event, your body releases hormones that trigger a fight or flight response, increasing your heart rate, blood pressure, and alertness to help you react quickly. Now, understanding stress um, comes down to recognizing its different forms, physical effects, and how you can manage it. Now, the different types of stress, we'll just go with two, which is acute stress, which is a short form of stress caused by an immediate demand or unexpected event, right? Like dodging a car or a sudden deadline you have to make or something like that. And it's usually temporary and fade once the situation is resolved. But what I think a lot of our viewers and a lot of people here, especially in America, are dealing with is something that's called chronic stress. And that's a long term, ongoing stress caused by persistent difficulties, ongoing financial troubles, toxic work environment, This type can severely harm your physical and your mental health over time. So how the stress affects your body is, in short, manageable burst, stress can actually be a benefit to you. It can be very beneficial. It can motivate you to meet goals or protect you from danger. However, overwhelming or prolonging stress can take a toll on multiple systems of the body. Common warnings include for your physical body would be headaches, muscle tension, fatigue, upset stomach, and weakened immune systems and allergies. Allergies, right? That's crazy. And also for emotions, stress can affect your anxiety, causing you to be anxious, irritable, a lack of focus, and you can feel overwhelmed. And it affects you behaviorally because it changes in your sleep patterns and can cause you to become withdrawing from friends and undereat or overeat. So that's just a little bit of what's written medically about stress. So what I was going to do was just with you talk a little bit how stress has affected your life, right? And what were you able to do when you came to the awareness of what stress is doing, and what steps did you take, right, to change that? I can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so it's that's a tough one because this is a situation where a lot of people are stuck, and they're simply stuck because they don't understand how their mind works. There's a process to it. When you're unaware of something, how do you know to do it, right? Like how do you know? So people try to tackle stress the best way that they know, and they don't end up achieving it. And so what they end up wearing is masks. They start building up more masks, more band-aids, and they get lost, unfortunately. But the most important thing, the first thing, is self-awareness. You have to be self-aware that you're actually going through a stressful situation. You need to monitor it by what is it that you're feeling. How are you feeling it? What signs are showing up? Are you feeling it in your chest first, maybe your headaches, maybe in your shoulders? Because depending on where you're feeling in your body, it means something different, right? uh, Understanding your nervous system. A lot of people don't understand the nervous system. You mentioned it earlier, the fight flight system. You know, we're all living in that survivability, um, and it's all because of the lack of knowledge. And how we deal with it is by creating new neural pathways, which is essentially what I ended up doing by changing the old patterns that I was conducting and replacing it by something else that felt different to me. And although homeostasis always brings us back, which is in our subconscious mind, you have to kind of fight against it. Start off with false motivations. All right. Start off with fake it till you make it type of deal, because that essentially will be fake it till you make it today, but consistently with repetition, that turns out to be your new environment, your new normal. So
Yeah, and when you start talking about behavioral change or changing one's identity, a lot of people work backwards when it comes to that. And that's to say, what are the three stages of changing or affecting one's identity? Well, we have results, actions, identity.
mm,
Okay. And what people like to do is they like to work from the result. I want to be this person. I want to have these things, right? Be it a job, be it a relationship, be it a status in life. And now so now they go to the second level, right? And they say, I'm going to take these actions, right? And I got to do these things. I got to get a better job. I got to get more education. I got to go out on more dates. I have to do certain things, right? And then they figure, well, when I take all these actions, what will happen? My identity will change. But that's not how it actually works,
that's right.
right? And what we must do first is address the identity. And we
That is correct. I believe so too.
you know. And when we address the identity, for example, if it's about being somebody who's more successful or with more money, right? It's not about going, okay, what do I have to do to be that? What actions do I have to take to reach that result? What I have to do first is go, let me enter into the state of that individual. What does it feel like to be the person that does that? And when I can do that, then I can bring the imaginative act, right? What does he do? What's his day like? What does he do when he gets up in the morning? What does he eat for breakfast? What does he feel like when he's eating his breakfast? And I bring all this sensory in of and that brings me to that state. That person is confident. That person is joyful. That person is assured. And then I step into that. And guess what happens? Naturally, now that I begin to embody the identity and enter into the state, I will naturally start taking the actions
Hmm.
of the identity, right? Which will infallibly lead to the result.
Right.
So a lot of us work backwards because we've been taught to be workers and to work backwards.
So I believe that it has to be observation first. If you're not aware of something, there's nothing for you to fix. So that's phase number one. From there, after you're aware, then I believe you should become acquainted with the mechanism of it. What is it that you're feeling? How is it that your nervous system, where did that pattern come from? Because a lot of people try to tackle the symptom. And okay, you tackle the symptom right now. You're having stress because you're low on financial. Well, once you recover from that, guess what? Life keeps on going, and it's going to keep throwing out challenges and adversities your way. So, what are you going to do now? And so, what I do different with hypnotherapy is that I provide you tools for you to become aware and handle whatever challenge and adversity you get, so that you can understand your nervous system and how to uh, bring yourself from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic state by using techniques like breath work or therapeutic journaling or visualization, which are powerful tools in hypnotherapy. And then at the same time, being resilient by understanding that nothing happens within a day, right? We don't see results in one session. You have to know that it's conditioning. The patterns that you've created and the stress that you have has been created throughout time. Has been impressed through high emotions and traumas. And then, so what you have to do is you have to spend that amount of time impressing positive outcomes that are going to replace those old ones.
Yeah, it's a belief and it's about suggestibility. And so I full heartedly agree with what you're saying. When I was also about the stress, like, you know, before you got here, how was how was stress showing up in your life? And before I even you answer that, I just
Mhm.
wanted to say that, you know, people hear fight or flight and not really understand how that actually translate in a modern world,
Mm. Yeah.
right? It's a
Well,
primitive response system
mhm.
for survival, right? But we don't live in that type of environment anymore. That's not the reality that we live in a day-to-day basis. So a lot of the feelings and emotions that show up to the body, it's like it's death. It's literal, my life could end. The body doesn't understand what's happening. But that shows up to us as these feelings, as this energy that's pulsating through us that we may call anxiety, worry, concern,
Sorry.
angst, right? And that's the body attempting to communicate,
Correct.
right? And we've been taught to push things away or push it down, right? Or to judge it in a way that shows that we're flawed somehow.
Mhm.
When it's just the body attempting to communicate something that when you take the time to listen to and allow, then the body can let it go. All that negative stuff you're feeling is the body trying to get rid of it. It doesn't want it there. That's why it's coming up to the surface like that. but we was never taught how to process and let it go. And when you have years and years of psychological condition, and you've built up a particular a neuroplasticity to a type of behavior,
Mhm.
you know, it I won't say you would change overnight, but change happens the moment you notice a shift.
Right. That's right.
You
Matter of
know,
fact, this would be if you're okay, I could jump into that segment real quick with my spiritual awakening, which kind of leads to what you're just saying right now.
please do, please do.
Yeah. So about a year or two from being medically discharged from the military, PTSD is on high peak. Um, Going out to a Walmart or to a Target with extra surveillance, getting the cold sweats, the hyperventilating, the too many people around me situations. Um, Even to the point to where I would be in my house and if the blinds were open, somebody was looking inside, right? A sniper or something like that. It's just this idea that you create when you spend so much time doing the same thing day in, day out. You create these walls and these scenarios in your head. And it's funny because in psychology, they have this thing called the wild horse effect. I don't know if you've ever heard it, Talib. And so the wild horse effect is a person who pretty much sees something and creates a bigger problem than what it really was in the first place, so much that they end up destroying and self-sabotaging themselves. Okay. So one day I'm home and I get into a dispute with my wife and I get pretty angry and I go downstairs to the basement. Um, what happens is that I get this frozen, like time froze for me. All right. And I split in like two versions of myself. And one was like a negative one and one was a positive one. And it's very surreal. It's very surreal. And what happened was is that the negative one, in a flash of a second, showed me going to jail, harming somebody, doing something just complete. If I kept on going on the road that I was in, per se, it was pretty much what it was telling me, is that something really bad is going to happen. And then the other version of myself was me in a nice suit, sharp, had everything. You can see the success, the happy family, the happy daughters, the kids, everything, the dog, the house, everything. Everything was just great. And at that moment was the moment that I had to make a decision because it was so real, it broke me down. I had to make a decision. Am I going to change? Am I going to accept the stuff that I'm doing? Or am I going to stay stuck? And so at that moment is when I said, let's create change. And it took me one day at a time, which is every day is another chance to become better than yesterday. And that's exactly what I took.
That's awesome. That's you know, I think a lot of people um, get to that place they call like rock bottom. You know, uh, I think it's necessary in many ways because we build up these stories in our mind, and there's so much emotion attached to them. You know, and over time they have to eventually give way. You know, and we protect ourselves from them, right? Until we get back into a place where we're forced to look at it. And then when that thing we think is the thing that's going to end it all for us happens, we realize it's not over.
Right.
And this is why I say fear is false evidence appearing real, right? A lot of times we're creating these stories that are emotionally charged. And because our minds are always deleting, distorting, and generalizing to make that thing real. So we push out all the other information around us, all the stuff that says anything contrary to the belief. And then we get so deep in that belief, and then we find out that we are not the belief, right? We are that which is believing. We are not the belief itself, right? And
Right.
then we move past it, and then all the other data that's been there now becomes available again, you know, because we use language to shape our reality,
Right.
you know. So
In the gun world, we actually call that like anticipating the shot, which is kind of like when you're aiming center mass before you shoot, you anticipating, you kind of jerk the gun, and so the bullet doesn't end up in the center hole. And so that's what we do a lot of the times with our projects and our ideas and our changes, that we get to a certain point, and then we can't believe that we've gotten so far, and we kind of self-sabotage ourselves back to putting ourselves small again. uh,
mm,
and so that's kind of like that reactive mode that we have, and that's all due to homeostasis in the subconscious mind, right? Because the subconscious mind doesn't take orders from anybody except for what it knows, right? Whether there's negative or positive. So a lot of people don't know that, and that's the reason why they can't create that change.
I agree. There are a lot of people that, well, I won't say they can't create the change. They're just misappropriating the ability to change to something else.
We need
They
to educate the people, and that's, I believe, is what we're doing, and one of our goals is to help people, provide the tools and the understanding of how the mind works, so that we can have a more healthier and positive society, a better world. Because there's a lot of chaos happening right now, and you want to talk about stress and anxiety. Look, you can see it all over the people right now, the news, in our sports, the division, for example, what's happening right now with the NBA in New York City with the Knicks. We can love the sport, we can be fanatics, but to tear somebody's jersey up, to beat somebody to death just because of a sport, or because who you go for and who you not go for, it shows not only the stress, the lack of mental control and strength that these individuals have, that they're so lost into segregating one another and doing negative things to one another instead of helping each other build. And that's what we need to strive to help people do over here, I believe.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, some of what you say, I agree. I also know that, um, from working in entertainment and being on lots of successful projects, I can say that there's a lot of money going into manufacturing the behavior,
Hmm.
because people don't know what causes them to experience what they're experiencing,
Right.
right? Here's something we do that we never think about, right? Let's say you experience a situation that causes you to feel upset.
Hmm.
We don't say, I feel upset. I feel this feeling coming over me that's causing me to feel like I'm upset. You see all the words I'm using to disassociate me from upset? No, we
Absolutely.
say, I am upset. I am angry.
And then it becomes a snowball effect.
Right, because you became literal anger. Who could be anger? No one person can be anger.
Right. And it's a choice.
It's a word phrasing that causes you to encompass yourself in an emotional state completely. When you say, what you're doing to me is causing me to feel feelings of frustration and anger, then I'm noticing that I am the one that's feeling the feeling. I am not the feeling.
Right. Right. You
Now I
explain.
can process what I'm feeling and use the feeling for what it was intended for. You're doing something that doesn't is not in service to me,
And many people hold on to the identity of anger, the emotion, and so
because
forth.
I am the
Exactly.
I am. It's
Exactly.
the self-identification with the situation, opposed to witnessing the self in a situation.
Right.
We self-identify. And then that goes into what we both know is called organic language.
Mhm.
You make me sick. This is a pain in my neck. If this keeps going on, it's going to kill me.
And that's just Monday. Do that Tuesday, Wednesday, for a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year, years, decades. That's a pattern that is pretty solidified in your subconscious mind, to where you may wonder why your exterior life is now not as desirable as you want it, right? And it's probably because the way you're feeling inside is not matching the outside. It's in dissonance. And when you realize that we're energy and things work with vibrations and frequencies, right? Then you want to go ahead and start learning how to maneuver these emotions, because these emotions are the frequencies. Are you tuning more into happier and more positive emotions? Are you expressing more gratitudes in your day? Are you expressing that love with your family or the people that are around you? Or are you tackling the negative ones, the fears, the control, and the manipulations, right? Are you falling under those? And based off of that is how you feel internally, is what you're projecting externally, right? As within, so without.
Well, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly again. Like you can only experience the world that's going on in your head. You can only experience what's going on in your head. The Greek used to call it a nounomenon. The images that you see only you see in your head, and then there is the phenomenon that what you see is in front of you that's still being projected in your head. you know and when you begin to really, like you saying, like a lot of people don't understand that. So let me ask you this, right? Let me ask you, like, if you dealing with somebody and you're not trying, because trying is failing with grace. If you're dealing with somebody and you're working with their, let's say, stress management, right? What's one of the ways you would approach that with someone who says, I got, and I'm gonna give you a scenario, that way you don't have to, like, try to
Yeah,
get,
yeah, yeah. That's good.
let's say somebody who's come to you like, I ain't got a raise in 6 months. I'm doing everybody's here job. I can't take it. My wife's not, having with me, and kids hate me. I'm just so stressed out.
Yeah.
How do you, how do you help someone like that? Because I think you explaining or even sharing something like that can help someone like that.
Yeah. So I think the most important thing is remembering that we're wired and conditioned from 0 to 8 years old. Our personality is defining, and it's being defined by our parents, mainly our mother, right? We're trying to figure out, we're watching our mom, how she treats us, how she treats our father, how she treats our siblings, our neighbors, the environment when we're out there. We go to school and we see other kids and their parents and their teachers. We go to churches and we see our friends and extended families and stuff like that. And so you're creating these patterns, these old behaviors. And so when we're talking about something financial, usually our parents came from struggle. So that's passed on to us. And now you come out to the workforce and you're making $16, $20 an hour. You've never made over $20 an hour. That's what your nervous system is conditioned to accept. So if somebody went to apply for another job and all of a sudden somebody saw you and your credentials to be worthwhile paying $35, $40 an hour, let's per se, what do you think that individual who's getting paid $20 is going to do? He's going to be excited in the moment, is going to share it with their loved ones and all that, but they're going to self-sabotage because they're going to be, what, $40? That's $20 more than I've ever gotten paid. And so then you're going to start questioning yourself. Am I good enough for this role? Do I have what it takes? There's people that are smarter out there that has more degrees, and so you start self-sabotaging. You start throwing that, but that's because your nervous system is wired to that. So what would I do? I would teach my client tools like breath work, for one, because it's something that we use in the military. It's something that not only high performing athletes use, but Navy SEALs, right? The most elite of this world use breathing techniques to be able to think and process situations under high stressful situations. So breathing techniques is number one. Number two is understanding the nervous system and rewiring the brain with new neural pathways by allowing the individual to accept that you are worth those $40. And this is why. You've been through things in your life that prepared you for this moment. And a lot of people, what they need is just more confidence, more motivation, somebody to show them who they are because they don't see themselves sometimes. And all it takes is for somebody else to see them. And so what we need to do is change that mindset, rewire that negative self-talk, and start putting in more positive suggestions so that they see themselves like those $40 plus some.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah. I agree with what you just said there, you know. I think that's a great way to assist somebody. And you know, we're gonna have to get you to demonstrate the breath work.
Definitely. I mean, you know what? This is the thing. A lot of people think that you have to complicate things and you have to do, uh,
And
very
you know,
complex things. And it's all about the fundamentals, the basics. Just a little box breathing. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, and 4 seconds hold. It's simple as that. But you will be surprised how many people don't stop for a second and actually do that type of breathing. Allow the mind and the thoughts to start narrowing down, start working with brain states. Most people don't understand how to go through brain states at will.
mm,
That's a technique that I teach. You see, um, being able to not be in that fight flighter mode and understanding, like one of my clients, he stressful to noise and all of that stuff. He, 2 sessions and he didn't have any of that anymore. He felt very empowered with the tools that I gave him because it's all about tackling the root cause and not the symptom at hand. And that's what I do. In fact, I'm starting a new project, Talib. It's called Vent, Release, and Rebuild. And so that's something I'm working on right now.
oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That sounds like something that's gonna be very helpful for a lot of people. You know, uh, I like that. Yeah. Um, Me in that situation, I think I agree with a lot of what you just said. I like to also, you know, when we talk about the brain states, we just talking about your brain is a different resonant frequencies, and those resonant frequencies represent states of consciousness. So for your waking mind, you're in what they call a beta, and they might use something like a high gamma or a gamma state, which is very alert, very right. And then when you begin to rest your body in the evening, and you're sitting there and your mind is wandering in your thoughts and you're not asleep yet, but you know you're getting there, that's your brain is in an alpha state. That's a state where the brain and the conscious and the subconscious has this moment where they communicate with each other. This happens for about 30 minutes in the evening before you fall asleep, right? But then you have the theta state. Now, the theta state is where the deep learning happens, right? Deep learning, healing, letting go, precognitive dreaming, figuring things out, looking into the future, peering into alternate selves. And then there's the state that is the superconscious state in which you, the awareness, are not here. You've gone back to that which you truly are, and that is called the delta state.
Mhm.
And this is when the body heals itself. And the reason a lot of us, when we have high stress, we don't sleep in normal cycles. We're supposed to enter into these cycles of alpha, theta, delta. You come back up to alpha, which you call light sleeping. And then you come up and then you drop back down into the theta and then into delta. You do this about 4 to 5 times a night, right? And now where your body is doing the most for you, where real change happens, is when you're in that delta state. This is when tissue growth, rebuilding of cells, and uh, um, um, service to major organs. All of this happens. This is why when you get sick, you get a cold or something. If you notice, you find yourself in a deep sleep through most of the illness because your body is healing, and it can only do that when you're awake. I mean, when you're in deep sleep. So these are the stages of the mind he's talking about. And there are different ways that you can use those different states of the mind to make great changes because, believe it or not, it's your unknowingness to these states that's actually controlling what you think has no control.
And that's where we come in, Talib, as hypnotherapists. Why most people can't create change is because the mind has this security guard called the critical mind. And if you don't mind for a second, I'll give a quick analogy of what I believe will be a good interpretation that people can kind of correlate to their phones. Uh, Imagine your brain being your phone, right? It has a passcode, and you're able to get into your phone, but you have old apps that you no longer use, that you no longer align with, and then you have some that you still do use, right? That'll still serve you. And so what happens is that you go to your Apple store, and from time to time we forget our passwords. Now, because you don't have that password, you can't delete apps and you can't download apps. All right. So now what happens is that below there's a link. If you forgot your password, click here. Without that link, you can't make any changes. You're unaware of how to make that change. This is where a lot of people get stuck, Talib. So what we do is we are that blue link in the bottom, the hypnotherapist. You click that link and we set you up with tools, and we prompt you through prompts so that you can recover that password. This is how we get into your subconscious mind to replace that negative behavior into something positive. So this is the missing piece that most people have when it comes down to creating that change. And a hypnotherapist understands the subconscious very well and how to get this done. So this is exactly what we do by putting the visualization in trance, and doing applying all the tools that we use.
And I think that's really great. I'd just like to add on to a little bit of that. That's okay. Um, just the that was amazing. First of all, I truly love that description of the critical mind. You know, and I don't think there's really too much to add on about that. That's very true on what people are dealing with. Um, I would say about the critical mind is it's not our enemy.
No.
It's there to protect what you call you, and it doesn't have any concept of time the way you do. So the things that happened to you long ago have been sealed in there, and they're existing now. You know, so I think that was an excellent description. You know,
Thank you
I'm
very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think that's really understandable for a lot of people. You
And
know,
hopefully, a lot of these tips serve people. You asked earlier how I helped heal myself and do stuff like that. And for example, um, I'll give you one more example actually. A lot of us go through road rage. All right. Maybe you get up in the morning, you're rushing with the kids, food, all this stuff. Things can get pretty bad. And so what happens is that if you catch yourself, you cursed or you beat before the light turned green or whatever the case may be, if you just hold it one time, one less curse word, one less burst of anger than what you did yesterday or earlier, you are already creating that change, that new neural pathway.
hmm
You're not going to stop cursing. You're not going to stop having anger or stress or PTSD or relationship issues, whatever it is that you may be going through, any limitation. You're not going to stop it in one day or on one shot. It's going to gradually take a reinforcement of repetition of that habit to create that new pattern, to solidify that new behavior that you want. And that's literally the process.
Mm. And another, just to add on that, is how well you accept a suggestion.
Right.
How deep the suggestion actually goes into the person's mind. See, another thing I wanted to add too was the effect that see what we have to understand is what's the language of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind language is imagery
Hmm.
and digital.
Metaphors. Powerful.
Imagery, digital, symbolism.
Yes.
So numbers, symbols, images, this is how the mind communicates. This is the language of the mind. So when you're using self hypnosis or in a session with someone like myself or Mutatiel, we will be able to work with your language and the imagery of your mind, right? So that the best suggestion, the most acceptable suggestion to your mind can be given. That's what's truly key, that the suggestion is accepted by the mind.
And that was the golden nugget right there, Talib. You dropped a beautiful line right there that most people don't know, right? And it's that the suggestion matters so much in how you can relate to the person who you're talking to. If you don't bond with that person, I mean, there's so many things that play a factor into what you're saying, like the placebo, right? You have to come in prepared. You have to be prepared to do extra activities and rehearse those after the session, right? Because I'm pretty sure you see a lot of clients who think that just with your session alone, they're going to get healed, and they get a quick reality check, and is that, the work is beyond the session as well, right?
Yeah, and I mean, the beautiful thing about this is everyone is different. It's no one size fits all scenario here. It really always depends on how much like no one can make you change, right? Change must come from within, something that we desire to happen. For if it doesn't happen that way, it's never lasting change, right? So really at the end of the day, it boils down to the individual, right? Um, there's some people that they could go to a group hypnosis session for stop smoking, and that'll cause them to stop smoking. But some other person may need a one-on-one and have 6 to 8 sessions
Right.
to actually quit, right? It all depends on, and also it's all about rapport. It's not really about technique. This is all about rapport. This is about people like me and you who have experienced life on the other end and did not become bitter and resentful to life, but became more empathetic, right, and understanding. So really the ability to connect with a person. And I'm gonna tell you, and this is my little secret. I've shared this with others before though, but if you really want to see the power of your own mind, use your own wonderful imagination to help somebody you care about. How? By imagining them having exactly what they want, and then bringing all of the sensory perception into the experience and feeling it, right? And imprinting it in the subconscious and then let it go. And it'll happen. Why? Because it's easier for people who are empathic to go and help somebody else than it
Mhm.
is for them to help themselves. Why?
Right.
Because they got self hang up, right? And they're more open to help somebody else. So really what this all boils down to is our own minds saying, when we enter into exception, just because you're with me and you've made this step, I'm going to see your outcome as well, because I'm involved in this too, because you're allowing me to be involved as your guide. So
Mhm.
now we are co-creators in experience, right? And on my end, I'm going to use my imagination to create the part where this works for you
Mhm.
better than you even thought it would.
Right.
because I get to be a creator in their experience as well. They're allowing me to be a co-creator in their vision to get where they're going.
Hmm. And
Right.
that's the power. That's the power of visualization. I could share a quick story too that my daughter actually, my 11-year-old daughter at that time had came from school a few months ago, right? And she told me, "Hey, Dad, we had a substitute teacher today, and she was talking about the things that you talk about." And I'm like, "All right, well, talk to me. What are we talking about? Energy and visualizations and stuff like that." And when the whole topic was is that there was an experiment done. There was three groups, A, B, and C, and the objective was for A to go to the playground for 30 days to shoot foul lines, basketball free lines for 30 days. The middle group was instructed to do nothing. And then C, the group C was instructed to practice foul shots, but visualizing from their home. After the 30 days, the results came back. Group A scored 25%, the ones that went to the park. Group B, obviously, because they didn't do anything, they had zero. Here's the interesting fact, Talib. The individuals who were tasked to visualizing scored 24%. That's insane because that's letting us know that our mind doesn't know the difference between reality and what we tell it.
Well, because it's neurological processes. And here's the thing, I know exactly that I do the method that they use to teach those kids to do that. It's called the Jose Silva method. That's what they had the children do, right? I used it to get where I'm at today, and I used it for my nephew to get into college. I taught him how to use the power of the mind. I showed him that you can visualize your teacher standing in front of the chalkboard giving you the answer to any question, because your teacher's thought energy is in the room with you. Your teacher, whether they were telling you the answer or not, the answer is being thought of in their mind. You've just never been taught to interpret thought energy,
Right.
right? Now, we all experience it, and I'm gonna tell you, this is where we experience it most at when you have a close friend, right? Or you have a brother or sister, and y'all like super close.
Mhm.
Soon as something bad happened to them, you know.
Mhm.
They know what you're gonna say before you say it. It's because the brain waves are what? Syncopated.
They're resonating on the same frequency. And
And they're
so
able to interpret each other's feelings through and thoughts.
quantum physics, that's kind of called like entanglement, or that's also called telepathy, a form
You
of
know,
telepathy.
all particles enter into a state of called quantum entanglement, right? Which means they can appear non-locally.
Right. Which is impressive, right? That's a whole different.
Yeah, because you're made up of particles,
Right.
you know. And man, this has been such. By the way, I just want to thank everybody for joining us and listening, and we really appreciate it. We hope you're getting some value from this. If you are, please leave a like and a comment. Please let us know what you think about stress, your feelings on stress. In the second hour, we're just going to open up the floor for people to come in and talk about stress, and have an opportunity to communicate. And maybe we can work on something together if you like. Also, during the second half, I always like to do a process and share something. So when
Okay.
we tap on a little something just to get the tapping juices flowing, and then we'll leave you, brother, to share maybe a breathing exercise with us that they can take home with them and practice in their daily lives.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I like it.
That's awesome. So we got Chef. Well, the in the chat, it's been placed already. We have it in the chat. So if you like to come up, if you want to join, you want to come say something, say hi, please go ahead and join. Also during the second hour, while I got my brother here, I'm gonna also have Chef should be joining us. He's usually my co-host with me, but he had a couple things that he had to take care of today. So he said he was going to jump in a little later. So if Chef, if you're watching, you're on the clock, man. It's time for you to get to work. So jump on.
It's time to report to duty. Let's go.
Yeah, it's time to report to Operation Sunrise. Get up and go. Yeah, so I feel like stress is really showing up in the world. The reason I wanted to talk about stress is because one is I don't like to get too political, and but at the same time we do live in a political society, you
Yeah.
know, and
It's truth is a reality that everybody's facing, man. I mean, there's 8 billion people, give or take, and just about everybody is going through something. All right. And the opportunity to learn about your mind, what we're providing over here, the knowledge is things that weren't available before the internet, right? So we're in a different time right now. And like you said, fight, flight, and freeze show up differently now. It's not like that. It's anger, anxiety, and depression now. So we're all suffering from a lot of things, and we can actually really avoid if we actually become well versed, knowledge, and we help one another. I think that's where it all really strives. That
and
we
you and you
all help
and,
one another.
and I like to tell people that's not everybody's gonna have the time or want to invest the time in learning deeply into like all of this.
Right.
And they may be wanting to know, well, what's some things I can do now to make changes? And I always like to tell people the basic, easiest place you can start today and notice a change is your language. And how we address our language is simple. We ask this: is what I'm about to say in service to me, or does
Mhm.
it make me a victim?
Right.
And if it makes us a victim, take a minute, take all the time you need to restructure that in a way you are not the victim. Because when the mind and the body is in line, then it will shut down the survival part.
Hmm.
It'll open up the heart center, and that's where all the abundance flow from.
Right.
See, you can't manifest from you. First of all, let's just simply understand that manifestation is the experience of life. If you are conscious and experiencing life, it's manifested. You are not trying to learn how to manifest. What you're trying to learn is, or remember, because there is some part of you that can recall being a child before words had meaning to you. The world still existed for you. So our shape of reality is coming from our language. So when you just take a little time to slow down your language and listen to what you're saying, and I'll give an example of this. Let's say I got fired today, and it was because of a racist guy who literally used racism to get me fired. Now that sounds like logic, but that's intellectualizing victimhood.
Hmm.
Now, what I could
You
say
know
is
what's
a
is
unforeseen opportunity presented itself for me to be free of a situation that I outgrew, that I had no idea how I was going to get from. But now that this has happened to me, magical doors are free to open for me, and a real opportunity can show itself. And I can finally get around people that can appreciate me. Or what is both of what I said true?
absolutely, absolutely is alignment, right? Left brain, right brain, or mind brain and heart mind, however you like to look at it, subconscious and conscious. You have to be coherent. We need to get out of those two veils that we go through, which is duality and polarity. All right, just realize that we're all just experiencing, like you said earlier in the beginning, right? It's just the awareness, the experience, the journey of the now. Don't dwell on anything. um like I told you earlier, I believe I texted you a few days ago before, and I told you that my dog passed away on Tuesday. Um,
I'm sorry for your loss, man. That's family right there.
you want to talk about healing? How did I heal? That was probably the major way I healed. Right, I had a golden retriever. She was 7 years old. We had to put her down on Tuesday, and I don't know if you can see through my glasses, but my eyes are pretty swollen from nonstop crying, and I don't have no pride in that. I dropped my ego, let all of that go. But because I've had a hard upbringing, because I've lost people, um, I've prepared myself differently, right? And although it hurt a lot, this goes back to the project that I'm working on, which is vent, release, and rebuild. That's exactly the motto that I'm working on right now, because I practice what I preach. And I show people not only the good stuff on my social media and the tricks, but I also show them that even though I help heal, I need healing too, because it's an ongoing process. And so, how hypocritical it would be from me to give people all of these tools and I don't practice it, or I don't do this. So anything that I'm giving out, I've already done for myself. So with my dog passing away, man, I mean, that was a realization, right? Like, so many images flashing in my head. What did I do wrong? What could I've done better? Why didn't I play with her more? Why didn't I take her on a cruise in the car, knowing she liked being company, she liked being with me? I could have just taken her one more time. If I could just have another day, just can I just have her one more time? And I promise you that I will do everything right. But I can't, man. She's gone. And when I was going through my PTSD and my angers and my anxieties and all that, everybody that I knew, family, friends, everybody disappeared. Everybody flaked on me,
Mm.
but not her. She showed me unconditional love. When I was mad and I was going through my PTSD, she would sit across the room, but facing me where she can see me, but yet allowing me to have that space to myself. How intelligent can you be as a dog for that, man? These beings are they're not just dogs, man. That was my daughter. That was my best friend. When I didn't have no more friends and when I was home alone, that was my battle buddy. That was my buddy. That was my friend. She was hearing my plans. She was hearing my arguments. She was feeling my sorrows and when I was feeling down. And she would put her head on my lap. She would sit down and just show me that she was there. And that's a true support system. And that's what I'm going through, venting. I'm venting right now. I'm venting those memories. But do I let myself go down in mental anguish, or why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? I could have done this. It's good to experience, like you said, experience those feelings and those thoughts. But don't stay stuck, because that's what leads you to addictions. That's what leads you to traumatic stress and anxieties and PTSDs and things that you don't want. So you have to make better choices. It's all about the shift.
Mm.
So instead, I'm going to go away with, that was my angel. That was the best memory that I will ever hold in my entire life. And in honor to her, I'm going to continue to fulfill my dreams. I'm going to continue to help people. And I'm going to continue to do better for myself. So whatever self-healing and personal growth I was doing before, I'm a times 2, times 3 now. We're putting in some work now. All right. So that's vent, that's release. And now I'm going to rebuild. And that's my project coming up. That's what we do. That's what I do. Mind and body conditioning, because it's not just about the body, personal trainer at the gym anymore. You got to get this right.
Mm.
We all have to get this right. That's it.
I agree. I agree. Like I said, I'm very sorry for your loss. I lost a dog that was very close to me. before as well, and I know what that feels like, you know. And it could be it's a lot. It can hurt. Well, it does hurt. Losing anybody hurts,
right?
you know.
And
And
so what do? You make that choice, and you're gonna let that that's how a lot of people fall into addictions, right?
yeah, well, what I do is I found some exercises and some things that allow me to process it differently. One thing is like for me, I realize a lot of people like to say, well, we're source, right? We're of the all, or we're of God,
Hmm.
right? And I have a different kind of outlook on that. A lot of people like to say we're a drop from the ocean,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? I see it as I'm the ocean experiencing itself as a drop,
That's it. Really.
right? So I'm not separate from the ocean.
Right.
I'm not actually separate from anybody I actually ever lost at the end of the day. They're all me. We're all the God we claim to love and believe in. We just don't understand that this is experiencing itself through the many. So
And that's a
my
higher level of consciousness, right? So.
right. And so for my thing is, of course it hurts when I lost my brother, you know. He left my house and got a fatal car accident 15 minutes after leaving my home, right? And I learned that when it comes to grief, everybody's going to have their own process,
Right.
right? And you can't help nobody with grief until they're ready to deal with grief, because we have to go through a process of experiencing it, right? But when we get to that understanding, you know, what I like to do to help and for myself was to understand that we are all of the same divine spark.
Hmm.
Everyone came here for their own purpose, and they were generated for my purpose. What do I mean when I say that? Meaning I'm the only one that's experiencing you as me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
All of this out here is an interpretation,
Right. Because
right?
right now I'm in your world,
You feel me?
and you're in
And
my world.
and I'm in yours, right? You see what I'm saying? But
Right.
there's something behind both of our eyes,
Right.
right? There's something behind the eyes of Talib that isn't Talib.
Hmm.
It's aware of being Talib,
Right.
right? And when you begin to encapsulate that understanding and understand what the now means, right? Not the future or the past,
Hmm.
right? But right in this moment, now, right now. Most of our problems aren't happening right now. Not right now. You feel what I'm saying? Right
And
now, we're either reflecting on something or we're projecting towards something. But very seldomly are we in the moment of now. But the funny thing is this: there is only now. If you get everything you want 10 years from now for you in that moment, it'll still be right now.
right. Exactly.
You only get to know this life from now. And what we as humans are always trying to do is make sense out of what's happening now. And that's why we have
Well,
this
too many
data of
people
our
are busy in
past.
the past and future.
Hmm?
Too many people are busy in the past and future that they forget the now.
That now is happening now. And
And
that abundance happens now.
and
That's
what
where
better
it happens.
and what is abundance and to whom, right? Because not too long ago, my awareness of abundance was one thing, and then my dog passing away, a whole new flash just came in, right? You already have everything. Gratitude. What I didn't do with my dog, I can't do that with my dog. But guess what was the lesson? And I'm sure was the test, and what she left was, you still have your daughters and your wife. Are you taking them for granted? Maybe you didn't take me out for an extra little walk or for a ride in the car, but you can still do that with your family. Are you doing that enough? And so these are the things that, this is how you adjust. You create those little shifts that are going to create some type of positivity in your life. Allow this to be an awakening call for me that, life is short. One of my kids or myself or even my wife, somebody can get sick, cancer, people all the time, right? All of a sudden, you went from being in good health conditions and now, your days are counted, they're numbered. That's a crazy realization, especially if it's a son, a daughter, a wife, mom, dad, right? So.
It can be. It'll be your fate one day.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? It's very, very natural, and it happens. And when we begin to grab and understand the beauty and the chapter and story they wrote into our lives, she's an ever imprinted on your life and the story of you. Right?
Now, think about that pattern, right? Let's say you were married 20 years. That's all of a sudden they're not here anymore. Imagine you, any step that you take in your house is going to bring some type of memory, right? Is that you're going to place her right there in the bathroom, right there in the kitchen. And that's why it's so hard to ease that pain, because everywhere you see it, the memories, the patterns that you created, that is why it's hurting so much.
I took my brother's death and turned it into an honoring joy and memory. See, I learned from my Kung Fu teacher years ago. His wife was like my best friend, and she helped me so much in my life. And they let me live at the school, and she let me live in their home. She was an amazing human being, and she taught me many great things. And when she passed cancer, my teacher taught me something even greater. They were like best friends. And she was like my best friend. She was like my big sister, bro. When she passed, I cried like a baby. Like I was at work and heard, and my knees gave out.
Right.
Like literally, it was like, you should go home. I couldn't pull myself together, bro. And you know what he did? He smiled and told wonderful stories and said her death is nothing to grieve and everything to honor.
That's right.
I will spend my life honoring her through the wonderful memories of her. I will not cry over her. I will celebrate and rejoice her. And it made me stop, because it made me relook at how all the people I knew that died, how I reacted, how selfish the reaction was.
Right. Not knowing, not understanding the reasons, the concepts behind it, which is
why what I'm saying?
The judgment, right?
When we lose those that we love, we honor them, we celebrate them, we think of them. They should make us smile and bring us joy.
Absolutely. And that's the positive shift right there. Do
we
fall off the rails, or do we honor the situation?
Think of all the rides you did take her on, all those ones she did enjoy. Right. Think of that wonderful time where she had the window down and she did that thing. He was like, oh, that's my baby, bro. And you understand what I'm saying? Right. She gave you that.
That's right.
And you could share that with everyone you tell about her.
Yeah.
Right?
And that will live on. Right.
It's a framing. And we can do that with tears of joy.
Yeah, I also, not to say that because you say I'm not going to cry doesn't mean crying is bad. Crying is actually good.
Crying is the best thing you can do. It's a release of toxin.
Release, yes, sir. Absolutely.
All that stuff that's been building up emotionally, it's all in the eye ducts and it's all in that liquid. It needs to be let go. We're the only animals that cry from pain to let others know that we need help.
What happens when you cry? What's the effect that you get after you cry? A hard cry.
Feel better.
You
feel lighter, you sleep good.
You got to go into rebuild and recovery, right?
You sleep so good after a good cry, bro. It's like,
And sleeping is so important to recovery too, right? When we talk about recovering for what mechanisms to use for stress and anxiety and angers and all that stuff, believe it or not, sleeping, being able to vent in your sleep, being able to release in your sleep, right? And project the future. So you were talking about the cycles of dreams. That's exactly what dreaming is for and sleeping is for. This is all what we're doing while we're recovering and resting. So mind and body.
Yeah, I was checking the thing to get on Chef to see when he coming too. Like, hey, bro, where you at, man? He said he's about to jump in here now, so I didn't want him to miss the chance to talk with you too, our new best friend here. We're
Right,
gonna
right.
like, we're gonna figure out a workshop we all three of us could do together, where we can bring something special each of us specialize in and put something together and just share it with the people. The reality is we have to share this stuff with the people. You know, we have to we're up here now trying to just get people to look at things differently, right? Because if you're on social media, if you're taking your direction from the so-called powers and authorities that be, then you are still being heavily manipulated and hypnotized into someone else's reality and serving their outcome. What we're here to do is to dehypnotize a lot of people, right? It doesn't serve the system to have woke citizens. It just doesn't. So what we're trying to do is wake people up, not to the evils of the world, but to your own potential. You
There
want
we
to
go.
change this
Empowered.
world? Stop
Mhm.
giving it your power. What is your power? Your attention. Einstein once said, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it.
Absolutely. 1000%.
Hey, fellas, how are you?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Sorry for being late. Had some emergencies pop up that I had to attend to. So, how are you? How's everything?
Well, I think we've covered about a good hour and 20 minutes of a lot of good information. And hopefully, people are soaking in and taking it well. So, yeah,
Awesome.
man, that's where we're at.
Yeah, and we
Awesome.
just the lines is opened up. So if you like to come and join us and ask some questions or share your opinions or tell us about your week a little bit, and maybe if you've had some stress this week and you were able to deal with it, maybe you want to come on and share how you were able to deal with stress and maybe share some of your opinions and thoughts about these things. So the lines are open right now, and we got Chef with us. And Chef, we just been talking about stress. I broke down a little bit in the beginning of what stress is, how it affects the physical body and the mind,
Mhm.
and then we talked a little bit about uh, um, um, the critical mind and the mind and how we develop a lot of these issues, you know.
Mhm.
And so yeah, that's just a little recap of where we are. We just talking about stress. We just talking about mitigating it. Some of the things we can do to uh, get over it.
Woosah.
We can woo-saw, right?
That's what I do.
Is that what
Woosah.
you
Woosah.
do? Woo-saw.
That works.
You know. But actually, this week I put practice. I went back to EFT this week, man. This week was a kind of high stress week for me. So I was like, you know what? Go to what you know. Don't worry about the other things. This will get you right into place. Start tapping away. And then I said my statement and I was like, hey, all right, back in the game. Back in the game. Now I can receive. Um, but you don't necessarily realize how many blessings you block when you're stressed out, how many opportunities you miss because you can't see it, you know,
Mm.
because you're so focused on what isn't even real. It's like your
How
own mind
empowering,
deceiving you.
how empowering is it for you now to use the tools that you know to cope when you go under a situation like that versus when you didn't know any of these tools?
It's so beautiful, because it always is. Well, how can you help others if you can't help yourself, right? Like that's the thought process when you get into that, or at least when I get into that space. So I think amazing thing to be able to have the tools to go to even have something to go to rely on that actually works, that I know works. It's like proof pudding. I mean, proof. Excuse me. Proof
In the pudding.
proven. Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, but it's proven that it works, and to be able to have that tool in my tool on my tool belt is, I think it's an amazing thing, and I really thank the opportunity of us really going to HMI to be able to give us the tools to be able to manage ourselves, to help manage others, or at least teach them, or at least show them.
Yeah, I think a lot of
So.
people may have a misconception when it comes to hypnosis, especially hypnotherapy, because
Mm,
there are a lot of people out here that and I can say that they may be able to hypnotize people, but I wouldn't really accredit them as a true hypnotherapist. I don't think they actually studied avocational vocational therapy to actually understand what therapy is, you know? And one of the beauties
mhm.
of what we offer is that we're very well trained. We're
There we
continuing
go.
our education, right? We are in
Mhm.
case conferences where we get to speak with veterans in this field. We are certified by a board, right? Which means we are accountable and held accountable for our
Mhm.
actions, and we are insured properly to assure that
Mhm.
we can not only protect ourselves but protect the people that we deal with. So I think that that's a very big difference in what we're doing versus somebody who's just getting up here saying, "Hey, I'm going to hypnotize you to be
Right.
more confident." Yeah, when
And
go ahead,
I
please.
think, yeah. Okay.
I was going to say that it's really important for people to know that there's a lot of healing practitioners out there, and everybody's doing an amazing job, right? And there's different types of healing for everybody. Hypnotherapy is not new; is probably new to a lot of people, or it's probably resurfacing now. But this is obviously an ancient healing technique used all the way back in ancient Egypt. And so when you start looking at the backstory of all of this, you start realizing that there is a method of why this works. It's not just because it's magic or Houdini stage performance, which is what most people think hypnotherapy is, or correlated with which stage hypnosis or some type of Hollywood movie. And is by far certified hypnotherapist from HMI is completely different from all of that. We are taught um, to really get into knowing a person individually, building that rapport one on one, and understanding how to bypass that critical mind to that subconscious, which is what we were speaking about earlier, and creating that change. So, hypnotherapy is a lot of tools, like what Chef is about to talk about, EFT, what he was
Yeah.
talking about, mentioning. So,
Y- Yeah, I mean, it's well, the question was, would EFT be a good reset in between interactions with people? Absolutely. You can do EFT sitting right now. I can just do it right now. I'm doing it right now, and you can't even see me doing it, right? Because it's literally that personal. And you can do it at work. You can do it anytime while you're driving, um, in mid conversation, if you can keep up, if you have that balance and that brain coordination where you can tap and then still listen, because that's not as easy as you think it is. But yes, it is a great reset between interactions with people. And it says what I am using the reference from the Sedona method relationships process. But EFT, yeah, EFT is useful. It's immediate, at least for me, and I think for most. As soon as you get to tapping and you get to say your sentence, even though I have my anxiety, or whatever your statement may be, I still love and appreciate myself, or whatever your statement is, and then you tap and you continue to say that statement, and you tap and you just take a deep breath and you hold for 3 seconds, and then you tap and you say your statement, and literally within 2 to 3 minutes you could be gone. So just that simple.
Okay, why don't you do a demonstration? Why don't you walk people through the tap or
Yep.
something? I
Oh,
mean, everybody
shuck
has
it, shucks,
their
shucks,
own way of
shucks.
doing it. I have a different,
Yeah.
way of, it's when you
Hmm.
learn the whole system, you can kind of pull from the way you
Yeah,
need
we,
to use
we
it.
we did this early on in the season here, and we're
And
gonna come back onto it. So that's all. I think that's pretty awesome. Just looking for my statement that I have. I don't have that handy right now.
just do one for
Um,
stress real quick.
there we go. I got it. I got it right here. Okay, here we go.
What?
So let's do this. Sorry about the noise and the confusion there. So our statement will be, even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. We'll start here. Let's do Talib's because he loves to start here, right? So we'll tap on that and we'll say, even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. And we'll stop. And I typically will have someone, after you say that statement, you tap, and then you take a deep breath. You inhale and hold for 3 seconds, and then you exhale, and then we will reset. So we'll do it one more time. We'll go here, go. Even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. And I'll take a deep breath and hold. And exhale. And then we'll say it again. All right. We'll go and let's change places, change meridians. Excuse me. We'll go here. Even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then we'll move on or increase the sentence. And I will just stay here. I'll say, we'll release this now. And we'll take a deep breath. And we'll exhale. And then we'll go on to the next sentence. We'll say, even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. Then we'll continue to tap. And we'll say, I release this now. Take a deep breath and exhale. And then you come back to, I let this go. Right? We'll still tap. I let this go. And then you exhale. And then we'll come to, this is no longer serving me. So we're building it up. Right? So we'll start off with the one sentence. And then we'll come in with the, I release this now. Then we'll add on to that, I let this go. And then we'll go into, this is no longer serving me. Then we'll pause and we'll inhale for 7 seconds. And we'll imagine ourselves releasing it and letting it go. And then we'll come back to the original sentence, right? Even though, we'll just go here. Even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. I release this now. I let this go. This is no longer serving me. I choose to feel calm, and I'm going to take a deep breath and hold for 7 seconds. And we're going to imagine the calm releasing from our body. And then we'll go back to the original sentence. Even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then we'll build that again. I release this now. We're still tapping. We're still tapping our meridians. I let this go. This is no longer serving me. Then I go to, I choose to feel calm as you continue to tap. I allow my body to reset. And on this one, we take a deep breath and we hold for 5 seconds and imagine our body resetting as we exhale. And then on the last sentence, we go all the way from the top again. And on the last, we just say here, we just do here, right? Right on the side. Even though I have this anxiety, I deeply and completely accept myself. I release this now. I let this go. And you still tap. This is no longer serving me. I choose to feel calm. and I allow my body to reset. And on the very last sentence, you're just imagining yourself completely letting go. And the last sentence is, it is safe to let this go. And just imagine yourself releasing and being in the safest place you can imagine, and releasing all tension and everything that no longer serves you. And that's the cycle that I do, or that I did when I had some trouble this week. And hopefully you can create your own cycle and your own statements, but it is amazing as long as you combine it with the breath work and your timing and your tapping, it works. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure people got some value out of that.
now I didn't do it into detail because I kind of want you guys to figure out your own, but I did
Well,
tap on
no,
some points that are kind of the common,
I just want you to
kind of
give
the
the
common
people the
points.
thing. You know what I mean? Just give them the thing, man. Just give it to them, man. They don't know.
Give it to them. Gotta give it
You
to them.
know,
A little
you
bit.
like
Let's
he
give it a
like,
little bit
hey,
at a
we
time.
did
Okay.
this once before. I'm like, we about to do this 1,000 times, bro. It's our practice.
Yes, we
It's
are.
like if I work,
Yeah,
if
we
I
are.
teach training, I'm not gonna not teach push-ups because I showed somebody once on a video,
Why?
right?
They should know
We
already.
got to keep it going. We got to give them the people. I'm here to make sure we give something to people, you
Yes.
know, and
Yes.
not hype them
Absolutely.
up for something that they never get to experience.
Well, I
So
think
thank you for sharing
I
that with
think
the people and giving them a
well
chance to
with
tap and see what they. I'm going. I'm going to have some more stuff done before we get off of here, though, too, because you know, there's still this breathing exercise that our brother here has to share with us. He want to
oh,
share his version of, or I want him to share his version of box breathing.
mm,
Okay.
You know what I mean? And let's go through that a
okay.
couple times and give people a opportunity to experience it. This the case stuff that we can make shorts out of to share with people so they can
Mm-hmm.
get good value out of something real quick,
Right.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all
And
about.
healing yourself is free.
Right. It really
It
is.
absolutely is. It's free, but it's not easy.
It is not easy,
It's not
and
easy.
that's usually
It's
uh,
not easy.
what people ends up paying for. Is really not somebody to talk to, a therapist. Is somebody to hold you almost accountable, like a personal trainer, right? Somebody who's there and be like, all right, like, these are the tools. This is what we're gonna get done today, and this is what you're gonna do the week. And sometimes people feel better that way, right? Just somebody showing them, guiding the way for them. That's one way they learn. And so if you're ready yet, Talib, I'm assuming that you're ready for me to do some box breathing, right?
Yeah, this is a great time for us to get into some of these tools to share with people, you know. And then once we share, we
Yeah.
can
Well, I
go into a little bit more. Then you can let the people know where they can reach you, find you, how to contact you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Because we'll be
Okay.
coming up on the end of the show. So I'm gonna mute
All
my
right.
mic so you can go ahead and give us some of that breathing.
So the first thing we need to understand is that high performing athletes, and I mention this all the time, Navy SEALs, our military, we all use breathing techniques. And box breathing is probably one of the most simple, the most known technique, yet it's not really practiced by many because it's so simple, it's so dumb to the average person because they don't understand what is the process and how it helps. And so what I could do is I can definitely say here real quick and just be like, inhale 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds, right? But let's go through an actual scenario, right? When you're actually going through a stress, anxiety, and anger, PTSD moment, depression, let's talk about what you're really feeling, right? High blood pressure, maybe. Your heart rate is increasing. Perhaps you're feeling cold sweats in your hands. You're having 1,000 thoughts racing through your head. And so it's really easy to get trapped in a vicious cycle in your mind. And something as simple as breath, as just if you think about a sigh, what happens when you sigh? Our body is a mechanical system that it has signals and switches. And so if your body is stressed, something as simple as breathing can bring you to a state, in a sense, where you can gather your thoughts again, calm down before you lose it. And what happens when we lose it, sometimes we end up doing things we shouldn't be doing. And there's cause and effect to everything, right, guys? So, what we want to do with this breathing technique is we're going to inhale for 4 seconds. And I use my hand, and the whole point is to do it dummy style, exaggerated. Let's use the one Mississippi strategy here. So we're gonna hold. This is my hold. Let go. Hold. Inhale. We're inhaling through the nose, holding. Exhale through the mouth. It's controlled. It's not raced. It's not rushed. Now, this type of breathing is going to bring you from a sympathetic to a parasympathetic just by doing 1 to 3 immediate deliberate breaths. Practicing this every day for 5 or 10 minutes, it's a skill, a habit, and a pattern that you're reinforcing, a tool that when you find yourself in a critical situation of high stress, you know how to get yourself out. That's how box breathing is.
That was great. That was great. People got. Hey, please leave a one in the chat if you got benefit from that. Please let us know what you think of that. Also, there's a link in the chat in the chat for you to join and come on up and talk with us. What you saying, Chef?
I'm not in the chat, but I benefited that from already. So
Thank you, sir.
That's the one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to do, right? We're all here. We have different techniques. We specialize in different things. We explain things differently. And so we all have audiences out there that can benefit from all three of us and from all the stuff that we have out here to share with the public. So
I agree. We got a one in the chat from taking photos. Yay.
Different modalities. We all have our own modality, and once we bring it together, it's like one big old pot of beautiful goulash.
Oh, yeah.
So. And another great thing to do is to learn how to let go. And that is a beautiful process that I use with people and help them cognitively experience what we also do with hypnosis, but cognitively, and what I will do is I'll share a little of this releasing technique, and instead of the traditional regular way of doing it, I'll do it a little different and add a little bit of your own wonderful imagination into it so that you can activate those neural pathways, because the imagery causes neurological shifts because our mind understands images. So I will share a technique of letting go that will require you to use that imagination. And you can use it whenever you like because it works. So all you have to do is feel as stressed as you do. And take a deep breath and just allow yourself to feel as much stress as you do. And then allow yourself to feel that stress even more. And allow yourself to feel that stress even more. And on a scale of 1 to 10, if you want to put it in the chat, please put it in this chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, how stressed out do you feel? 10 being the most stressed out and overwhelmed, 1 feeling very good and secure and confident. So just allow yourself to even feel that stress even more. And now, just imagine on your chest, there is a window or door. And imagine opening that window or door and saying to that stress, you can go now. Thank you for serving me for the purpose you serve, but you are no longer needed. And just imagine that window or door being open and notice that stress going out of that door or window. And just notice even more. And when it is gone, just go ahead and close that window or door. Now, in this moment, could you just welcome whatever stress or worry or anxiety and whatever story or image that comes up with it? Could you just welcome it? Could you just let it be here? And answer from your heart. There is no wrong answer. But you may notice that story wanting to explain itself. And I challenge you to not let the story explain itself. So in this moment, check and see if there's any wanting to change it, to make it different, to push it away or pull it closer. And if so, could you welcome it? Could you just let that be here as best you can? There's always a wanting to change our situation or our resistance to something. Very seldom do we ever allow it and just see what it has to say. So for this time, this one time that cost you nothing, could you just welcome that wanting to change it? Now, check and see if it feels personal, which it always do, like it's about you. And if so, could you welcome that? Just let it be here as best you can. Now, in this moment, the best you can, and just for now, could you just let it go, let it dissolve, let it unravel into the great ocean of your awareness? Would you let it go? When? And one more time, go back to that feeling of stress, worry, or anxiety. And could you just welcome it? Let it be here. And check and see if there's any wanting to change it. And if so, could you welcome that? Now check and see if it feels personal, which it always does. And could you welcome that feeling of personal? And in this moment, the best you can, and just for now, could you just let it go? Would you let it go? When? And could you allow that great awareness, that joy, that abundance, that courageousness that's always there right beneath the surface, could you allow that to come in and take its place? And you don't have to know what abundance looks like, because if you simply allow, abundance will reveal itself to you. And just notice how you feel. And that is a releasing technique.
At some point through your question, how, why, when, my ears start ringing, and I was like, oh, put some energy out here. I don't know if you saw my hand waving a little bit.
Hmm.
Because you know how it is. Sometimes if I pick something up, it's like, oh, okay, I see what it is. And someone's like, okay, someone needs this. Someone in the audience needs this. So we're just hopefully um,
Well,
the
definitely,
combo
someone was
works.
releasing,
Yeah.
and letting go of something. He was picking up. If if you guys did it in on your end, please leave a number what you are now. If you checked your number before and made a number, what's your number now? Are you still high? Did it come down 3, 4, or is it gone? We'd love to know. But that's the Sedona method. It's a cognitive thing. You can really do this right on the spot. When you stand there and just be what you are and then welcome, just allow whatever thoughts you're having, just to let it be there. Don't fight it so much. Just actually welcome it. And then that wanting to do something about it. If you just listen to the wanting to do and welcome it. And then when you say, let it go, can I let it go? Yes. And just notice when you just letting go isn't a physical thing. It's something that happens in the mind when we stop putting the excess pressure on the thing,
Right.
right? And as soon as we do that, you'll notice it's like, oh, and you'll be able to see clearly. You might even start getting answers faster, or doors start opening up, and people start acting differently because you've made a shift in how you're looking at it by letting go of what you was telling yourself it is.
Exactly. The channel has opened, and you have
Yep.
narrowed down the thoughts enough to be able to think about the ones that are worthy enough for you for your next move, your next play,
Mhm.
your next higher desired state. So absolutely, that's right.
So we got about, I think, maybe less than 10 minutes left. So we could, uh I really want you to share where we can find you at, brother. Please give all your information. Let the people know where they can reach you at, how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, yeah. So once again, I'm Mutatiel. I'm the founder of the Quiet Realm. So you can find me on IG as the Quiet Realm or Mutatiel, my name right there. Just know that I do one-on-one hypnotherapy sessions with my clients, but I'm also working on launching a project called Vent, Release, and Rebuild. And this is going to be like like hiring a personal trainer for your body, but you're hiring for mind and body conditioning coach. All right. And what I'm doing is the project combines nervous system education, body conditioning, breath work. It's going to work with hypnosis, military discipline, and leadership, anything that I learned from there. And a lot of practical tools that can help people use in their everyday life. All right. So, Talib and Chef, I appreciate you guys having me on your channel. And it's been amazing. It's been great. I appreciate everybody listening. I hope you guys took something positive out of this for allowing me to share and definitely about sharing for my project. So if you want to hear more about it, follow my IG and stay tuned for the launch date for Project Vent, Release, and Rebuild. Thank you guys. Stay steady. Be easy.
Thank you for holding it down, man. Especially while I was appreciate it. Much appreciated.
When
Definitely.
you launch the project, you could come on up, share it. You know what I mean? When it's time for the project, you got a platform to come share that. And you know what I mean? Because
Yes,
we
sir.
we,
Thank you
we
very
want to
much.
get all of this out here, especially with people that I personally have gotten opportunity to know and know what they're about and know the good that they can do. If I can assist them in this journey of being of service to humanity, then I will. So uh l- you're definitely coming back. You're always welcome. If there's any time before then, anything you like to talk about or share with the people, you're always welcome on here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and I foresee us linking up a little bit more frequently from here on out. So it was nice meeting you guys, and thank you for having
Oh,
me.
that's
Bro.
what's up.
Mutatiel,
That's
we
what's up, man.
appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, brother. Let's get a hand for Mutatiel right now, man. Yeah, yeah,
There it
good
is.
job. Yeah.
Little John. That's a
I
little
like
John,
that. I
huh?
like that.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Chef, you got anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here, man?
No. Thank you, Matatiel, once again, for holding it down. I can't. You're awesome. You're awesome, and you are going to be extremely successful in this field. And thank you for having me once again, Tully. And peace and blessings to everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Chef. You know, we how we do. I like to say the Mutatiel, like, we got to get you back to talk about, there's an epidemic in America of all our. They only like to glorify certain aspects of our military, and then they don't want to show you all the brave men and women that's been left behind, that are struggling with the VA, struggling with their mental health, struggling with getting the assistance that they need. And I would love for you to come shed some light on that. And if you have any offerings in the service of that, I'd love for you to come back and share some of that too. That would be, I would like to just dedicate a whole show to that.
Definitely, I'd be honored to. I'm not just a representation of somebody who served in the military in uniform, but also, struggles in real world, real life. We all have them. Sometimes, like you said, we're taught to kind of wear that tough skin costume, and so we kind of brush it underneath. But it's okay to vent and release. And as a matter of fact, we got to normalize that, normalize authenticity a little bit more, and that it's okay to be who you are, the good stuff and the bad stuff. It's not just the Louis Vuitton and the Gucci stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna wrap this show out. I want to thank you all. My name is Talib. This is Beyond the Mind Hypnosis. And you can find me at beyondthemindhypnotherapy.com. I also have scholarships on there right now for a pro bono session. So you can come see me if you want to get some of this going. You don't have to worry if you don't have the money. We're in this business to help people. So, me being able to work with you is helping me. It's helping me be of service. So thank you. If you do, go to beyondthemindhypnotherapy.com and book a free session. You get a discovery call. We'll talk. We'll see what's going on. We'll see if we can really work together, get that chemistry, and then we'll put together the optimal plan for you and your well-being. And you don't have to worry because the first 6 sessions are free. So that's how important this is to me. So once again, I want to thank everybody that came on and shared their wonderful knowledge. We'll be back next week, and we'll have more special guests sharing some more amazing modalities and some of the secrets to the mind. And so, Pete, you could go ahead and play that outro with the rewiring. Mutatiel, I don't know if you caught the intro, but that's something that I put together and made, just trying to share it with how it all works. So
Beautiful.
thank you. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great weekend. If you're in Las Vegas with me out here, please drink plenty of water because it's cooking out there and we don't want you to cook. So thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next Friday.
Welcome to Rewriting Your Reality, a video focused on hypnotic modalities to shift the belief systems that keep you captive. We will explore the journey from being subconsciously programmed to achieving quantum freedom. Get ready to dismantle everything you thought you knew about your own limitations. The mind's power is a historical fact. Franz Mesmer introduced animal magnetism in the 1700s. James Braid coined hypnotism, defining it as a focused physiological state. Crucially, before anesthesia, major surgeries were performed using this trance state, proving the mind's ability to override physical pain. My personal journey proves the mind transcends the body. A near-death experience revealed pure awareness. After being paralyzed, I reprogrammed my body through visualization and discipline. The core truth is that identity is the prison and the key. Your mind can reshape reality itself. Unmasking the global hypnotic modality. Secret societies and governments. They understood the power of the trance state long ago and weaponized it to shape societal structures from the shadows. Corporate hypnosis. Advertising and media use sophisticated neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, to obscure reality and shift your belief systems without your consent. The ultimate goal, to control the narrative, consumption, and consciousness of the masses, turning individuals into predictable units of a manufactured paradigm. They are the masters of the hypnotic modality. The first element of global hypnotic modality is authority, manufactured to establish psychological inferiority. Uniforms, robes, and controlled environments trigger unquestioning obedience. When you look up to an authority, your critical factor is lowered, accepting suggestions as absolute truth. The uniform is the first induction. The second element is translogic, a self-contained system logical only within its own framework. This creates a closed loop of reasoning. A doctrine establishes ultimate authority, turning rules into absolute truths. The paradigm acts as a perceptual filter, making external manipulation feel like internal conviction. The third element is overload, creating an intense, rapid-fire experience that bypasses the conscious mind. Techniques include sensory saturation, emotional triggers, and message overload. This forces the subject to feel something profound, anchoring the belief without rational scrutiny. The heart accepts what the head has no time to question. The grand illusion is when you become your own hypnotist. Division keeps us fighting each other, distracting us from the masters of the modality. They use filtered evidence to make you doubt your power. The ultimate control is when you self-hypnotize with their suggestions. I am not enough. This is the self-hypnosis of suffering. The quick release uses the Sedona method to clear emotional debris. Emotional baggage is just something you are holding on to. You can drop it using these 4 questions. Could I let this feeling go? Would I let this feeling go? When? Answer: now. Repeat until you feel a tangible shift in your state. The reframe shifts meaning and reality. Change the meaning you attach to an event, and you change your emotional response. Content reframing actively searches for the positive intent or hidden benefit. Failure is just data and feedback. A block is a stepping stone. Change the question to change the destination. You are already in a trance. Self-hypnosis is choosing your own program. This is your new operating system. Use a simple countdown to enter a deep state and plant empowering beliefs into your subconscious mind. Consistent practice rewrites your core identity, dissolving suffering and manifesting the quantum you. Are you ready to take your quantum leap? This exclusive transformation package offers the book